Hi folks, Lee Diffie with you here at the World Centre of Racing, Daytona International Speedway, along with 3 Daytona winners, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, and last year's winner in the 450 class, Jett Lawrence. Pretty cool to have the 3 of you together. Unfortunately, we're not going to see you out there tonight. You're recovering from your ACL, your knee surgery. Great to hear that it's going well. Let's not talk about the injury. Let's talk about this place and how special it is and how special it was for you last year getting that first 450 win.
Yes, I honestly think this is one of my favorite races out of the whole season. The track, just how it is, and even how last year went with the tire wrap trying to get off, and even pulling that start, I was kind of surprised myself where I was, but especially racing Eli Tomac. I mean, he's known to be very dominant here as well, and to beat him and obviously Chase as well was an awesome feeling for me and a big turning point. So I had a rough previous weekend in Arlington, so it was good to bounce back with that. But I think just the legacy that Daytona carries with itself, I think is just so massive in our sport. And I think it just brings so much excitement. For me, I could probably speak for these two as well. It just brings so much excitement for us as race, because it's so different and you can send it a bit, but then you got to be cautious because of the ruts as well. So it's just an exciting race.
Yeah, for sure. I know personally, and it seemed like that for last year, you knew how much this race meant to Eli, you know. Yep. So even just the history of Daytona, we all know that, but knowing what it would do for your championship going against your competition, for me going into 07, I knew how much beating him here was a huge thing for me. I tried beating him in 06 and crashing, but were you going into last?
Hey, you try. We all try. We try.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
So last year, was that an emphasis for you coming into this race to not only win Daytona, but to beat Eli in his own house?
Yeah, I think it's a major thing. Obviously, whoever's best at that kind of track or arena or stadium, you kind of want to beat the best person. Yeah. And obviously, Tomac's well known for being great here, and he's won, I think, is it 8? Is it
7?
Seven. And it's just an unreal number just to begin with. And to try and beat him, you obviously, to be the best at Daytona, you got to beat the best. So, I mean, to be able to beat him here, especially with how difficult the conditions were and him starting in front of me, it wasn't just I whole shotted and he started way back. I was able to pass him and Chase. The main, obviously, they're both fast and obviously Cooper Webb as well. But just how the scenario played out during that race, I think, is one special for me. And like you said, I really needed a personal kind of goal of mine. I really wanted to beat Eli here because he has been so fast and good here, you know. So yeah. It was cool to accomplish it at my first try.
When you see this track today, like, is there something that you think is going to be more challenging than not? I mean, I know it's, it gets super ruddy, the sand, all that fun stuff. But when you saw the track, like, oh, that's going to get super gnarly, and does it cater to one of the riders?
I think obviously the biggest difficult thing here is the rhythm sections with the ruts. It's a lot more ruddy and softer than normal, where you got to watch out for clipping foot pegs and stuff like that. I haven't got to see the track a lot to see what the 450 guys are doing differently to the 250 and see what's possible. But I mean, I've seen Chase's lap, and it looks like he's having fun. Yeah. The track looks fun, and I mean, that's the most important part, is how fun it is, and see what big rhythms you can do too here is always good.
You were pumping your chest. You were pounding your chest coming to the checkered flag last year. That was representative of just how important it was, how much it meant. Yeah,
it was a really important race for me, especially because the weekend before mainly. I had a nice lead, not a lot of pressure from behind, and I ended up just relaxing and made a silly mistake and clipping the tough block and crashing and then hitting back of a lapper. And it was a self-inflicted mistake that wasn't needed, and for me to get this was just a really I'm I need to focus in and make sure I'm not making the silly rookie mistakes and lock in and show, no, I'm here to win this championship. I'm going to do whatever I can. And I mean, I did get a little mouthy in the heat race and saying, yeah, I'm here for business. So I think I had to go out and win. And thankfully I did. Otherwise I would have just had a big foot in the mouth moment.
No, you just say, no, I'm business outside of races.
Yeah, outside. I'm just working on business outside of races. But thankfully we did show up for business that weekend.
So I'm not going to put you on the spot for the 450 guys, but for 250, like, how do you like Hymas's, your teammates' chances here today? He looked pretty good.
He does. No, I got to see him this week training, and honestly, I was just I had so much fun watching, and and the track was mint. We had a bit of rain, and it was prime time. Him and Seth Hammaker were going at it, and I had so much fun watching, and it started to look a little bit more like Chance Hymas again. In his speed and this how he'd kind of attack things, attack turns. So I'm looking forward to him racing, because if he races like how I know he does and how he was last year in a few of the rounds in outdoors, I know he has a very good chance at winning. It's just whether if he puts those things together. And I think he's becoming obviously a lot older, getting more mature and stuff like that. So I think he has a good chance. So hopefully, fingers crossed. I mean, I'm always rooting for him, and hopefully he does good. Same with Seth Hammaker and I think it's going to be some good racing.
It's always difficult to keep up with everything that everybody says. You and Hunter can't hear all of it all the time, but Chance is very complimentary. He's actually very outward in talking about the friendship that he has with you and Hunter. He looks up to the two of you as his big brothers, and he's very complimentary with how much you've helped him. Thanks for stopping by. We're going to have a fun night. How are you dealing with being on the sideline, by the way? Are you a patient person or are you impatient?
I've came to a little bit of the acceptance, but I mean it still hurts a bit. I mean, especially when I see a track layout, I'm like, oh gosh, that looks like a fun track layout. I'm seeing this like. I think the previous weekend when Chase was doing on press day the 3 quad, I'm like, oh, I wish I could did that quad.
So we'll go to work tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern on Peacock. We're looking forward to that. What are you going to do for the rest of the day? How are you spending the time here?
I'm actually spending my time in the Lawrence fan zone.
Ah,
I'll be there with fans, chatting with them, getting to know them as fans, and for them to get to know me as well. You know, I think a big thing in our sport is we get to get up and close with the athletes, and I think this is another way for the fans to get to know us as personally as much as we can, you know. So I think it's a really cool opportunity for them, and we want to give them the best time as they can at the races.
There he is, Jett Lawrence, 2-time and reigning SMX 450 World Champion. He'll be back on his bike later in the year to try and get 3.